Hey guys, it's Minias. One of my favorite things about this channel is something that I really wasn't expecting, and that's the comment section. I do my best to read everything, and I really love the ideas you guys bring to the table. Now, sometimes you'll have questions that deserve better than a text response. Other times you'll have video or topic suggestions that are really good, but don't quite work for some reason, or might not be meaty enough to fill up a full video. So here's my solution: the video response series, which is sort of a question and answer or mailbag type video. I try to do a good job of answering as many questions as you guys have, but there is one question that I've completely failed to address, and I've forgotten about several times, and that's via Twitter from Dave, who asks, do you think loot has an appropriate place in Mass Effect Andromeda? I feel like every game is all about loot these days. And you can see the date on that tweet. Oh boy. Anyway, Dave, sorry for taking so long, but yeah, it does feel like more and more games are all about loot these days. Now, I kind of like these loot grind games, but is that right for Mass Effect? My answer here is not really. There are two aspects of Mass Effect that I love that I don't think would benefit from a classic RPG loot system. One, Mass Effect is largely about the story. I'd prefer not to spend time grinding for a weapon I like while I'm engaged in the story. Two, I like how diverse and customizable the combat is in Mass Effect, and I don't want to come across a weapon that fits my playstyle and have it become irrelevant in just a few hours. The first Mass Effect game was kind of about loot. They did chuck guns and armor at you with only slight upgrades. But how much did that really add to the experience? Now, the issues I have with loot in Mass Effect aren't huge, and I'm sure there is some way to make a loot system work, but I know the loot system in Mass Effect 3 worked, and I don't think there is a good reason to get too far away from that. It's gotta be pointed out, though, that the multiplayer was pretty much all about the loot. And I love the multiplayer. But the reasons for playing single player and multiplayer in Mass Effect are pretty different, and I don't think the multiplayer focus on loot should carry into the single player. Ancient Warrior asked for a video on potential voice actors for Mass Effect Andromeda, and I thought this idea was great, but it quickly became apparent to me that I wasn't going to be able to make the video that I wanted to make, because I'd like to use actual clips from actors and shows to give you guys a good feel for my suggestions, but if I use those clips, the people who own the clips would completely bury my channel, and I'm not in favor of that. However, I do want to at least name two actors that came to my mind as far as the Pathfinder is concerned: Brian Bloom and Laura Bailey. Both have BioWare connections. Brian might be better known to you as the voice of Varric from the Dragon Age series, but I'm thinking less Varric Tethras and more Steve Rogers from the Avengers Earth Mightiest Heroes show, which unfortunately doesn't appear to be on Netflix anymore. In a lot of his work, Brian's got a real sense of power and command to his voice, and I think that would work great with a Mass Effect main character. Now, Laura has been in a ton of stuff. She voiced Camille in the Mass Effect animated movie Paragon Lost, and I'm very confident that she's been in something that you really liked. I'm going to post the IMDb credits in the description box. She's got range, but often her voice exudes calm control and sex appeal, which is a couple of the qualities that Jennifer Hale had with Femshep. Basically, I could listen to these two voices for hours, but there are a ton of good choices out there. Something I want to bring up as far as casting a voice role is concerned is a quote from my favorite casting/voice director, Andrea Romano, who you might know best from her work on many DC animated projects, going all the way back to Batman the Animated Series. And I'm paraphrasing from memory here, but she said something to the effect of, "It's better to cast an actor with a great voice than a great voice actor." I'm hoping the casting door is open to everyone with talent. A great example of this is the job that Martin Sheen did as the Elusive Man in the Mass Effect series, and he isn't someone you would necessarily think of in a voice role. I could talk about this subject for much, much longer, and I will, as soon as we start getting actual casting information for Mass Effect Andromeda, because I really don't remember ever being this excited for casting news in a video game. Now, a number of people have asked me my opinion on indoctrination theory, and you can't get much deeper into Mass Effect spoilers than indoctrination theory, so if for some reason you are here and haven't played Mass Effect 3, drop this video right now and go do that. There are a bunch of people out there who go way into depth on this, and I'm not going to do a better job of explaining it than they do, but basically indoctrination theory proposes that by the end of Mass Effect 3, Commander Shepard is indoctrinated. If this is true, the endings kind of make more sense. Why would you believe that grabbing this face-melting glow stick would save the galaxy? Well, maybe you're indoctrinated. Indoctrination theory just has way too much going for it to be ignored, but there is one important thing that works against it, and that's that I really doubt the writers intended Shepard to be indoctrinated at the end of the series. BioWare went out of its way to add content after the release of Mass Effect 3 that makes Shepard's conversation with the Reaper child thing a lot more legitimate. And I can't think of another example of a game that went to this kind of an extreme to clarify something in its story. But do I adhere to indoctrination theory? I guess not really. But Mass Effect is a work of art. Art is open to interpretation and debate. You've got to ask yourself some questions. Is the true ending the release version or the amended version? Do the artist's intentions override the interpretations of those consuming the art? I don't feel like these questions have a correct answer. Whether you're on board with indoctrination theory or not, I think you're right. It should be pointed out, though, that BioWare doesn't seem to back up indoctrination theory, so I wouldn't expect it to play a role heading into Mass Effect Andromeda. However, I do want the ending of the trilogy to stay open to interpretation, which is one of the reasons I expect the developers to work around this ending, and why I like the early exit theory so much. So this is my first crack at a response video, and I'm hoping to do more of these response videos mixed in with what I normally do. Hopefully you enjoyed this quick format. Keep your questions, comments, and video suggestions coming. There are starting to be more comments than I can handle, but I do love reading your responses, and I'm hoping that this is a good way to continue interacting with you guys. For future versions of these videos, I'll pretty much take anything related to Mass Effect or my channel. Really, there isn't much of a limit on possibilities. Anyway, if you like this video, please give it a like. It really helps out the channel. Keep an eye on MiniSGC for more Mass Effect videos, but for now...
I should go.